So, madam, madam,
Welcome back to another episode of JAtalks. My name is Sam, and for today, guys, we are going to be delving deep as promised. I am going to go into the situation with Jamaica accepting third country nationals. Also, as well, a lot of things were taking place in Parliament, and so there was a clash between Nikisha Burchell, Juliet Holness, and Robert Morgan. I'll also address that as well. Stay tuned after the break.
Just some productions, presents, JAtalks, director just I'm in the building, policy, politics, current affairs, let's go! From the hills of Manchester to the world stage, we turning the leaf, we opening the page, no smiling dentist talk, we keep it real and raw, the truth about the island, from the mountain to the shore, we walk about policy, we talk about politics, current affairs, we give you all the facts, no tricks, parliament clash or the latest news trend, JAtalks at the place where the message transcend. JAtalks, we attack the truth. JAtalks, inspiring the youth, substance over style, making nation wise. Open up your ears and open up your eyes. Hit the red button, make the community grow. Like the video now, so the world can know. Hit the bell, don't miss a beat, no delay. JAtalks, the only voice you need today.
Subscribe to the JAtalks movement. Remember, your independence is the foundation of your liberation. On Tuesday, the 16th of June, the news broke that Jamaica will be accepting third-party nationals. And so, with the Gleaner first reported that it would be 10,000 persons coming. 10,000 persons passing to Jamaica. And then, Security Minister Horace Chang clarified and said it would not be 10,000. It would actually be 25,000. So, I'm so sorry. 25 persons. It will be 25 persons. Nothing. That was so off. But yeah, it will be 25 persons that would be coming through Jamaica. Now, yesterday in Parliament, a lot of things happened in Parliament actually, and I'm going to talk about. But yeah, we're gonna address the first part with the because I had promised you guys that we would have addressed this in this video. Regarding the third-party nationals, and then because yesterday I went to a workshop, and when I came back, apparently, the news broke with Andrew Weekly being charged for corruption by the Integrity Commission. That I have to do that in a separate video. Like, guys, oh my gosh! So I have to do that in a separate video. I cannot do that in this video. So for now, as I promised, I'm going to deal with this. There are layers to the third country national. There are a lot of layers. So when the report initially came out, it stated that the report would have indicated that a senior minister of government was the one who proposed it. That was what was said. A senior minister of government was the one who proposed it. Now, that never made any sense to me. And so all arrows pointed towards Horace Chang being the senior minister who proposed it. And so I had to ask myself several questions, because I'm looking into it and I'm saying to myself, well, first of all, what benefit would that have on Jamaica? How would Jamaica benefit from this? Because this not really have nothing to do with Jamaica. Why would we just get up out of the blue and decide that we are going to take on America's third-party nationals, right? And again, all arrows pointed to Dr. Horace Chang. Now, today, some new developments came. It says, so this is what the Gleaner would have posted, and the Gleaner has been under fire because I say the Gleaner has been posting inaccurate information. Well, if the Gleaner is posting inaccurate information, blame the Gleaner, don't blame me. So I'm going to read to you the article that the Gleaner said. So it says a diplomatic note from the United States U.S. Embassy in Kingston has stated that a cabinet minister proposed a controversial deal to Washington that would have Jamaica had received up to 10,000 third country nationals. The note sent to the Jamaica government said that former ambassador to the United States and minister of portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for efficiency, innovation, and digital transformation, Audrey Marks, made the proposal. All right, so they're saying Audrey Marks is one of them who would have made the proposal. Again, initially all arrows would have pointed to Dr. Horace Chang, but no, they're saying the U.S. Embassy is saying it is Audrey Marks, and so I have a lot of questions I want to ask because there's a lot of confusion here. So again, back to the first question: how is this going to benefit Jamaica? How will this whole third party national benefit Jamaica? Also, because this is not the first time, and they've been to other countries as well. They have gone to different countries as well, and I think Grenada was one of them as well, and Saint Kitts as well. So they were working their way up. It would have been a matter of time before they come to Jamaica, and so again, they're saying that it was. Officially us that came up with that bright idea that we should allow third party nationals. But then in Parliament, and I had to watch Parliament, guys, because a word, I must say, a word bangarangalang in the Parliament, and I needed to get the evidence myself. Because again, as you know how I do things, we rely on facts, we don't rely on feelings or opinions. So I had to get the facts straight. And well, you know what? Don't take my word for it. This is what Dr. Horace Chang would have said.
I'm turning on your mic to repeat that question because it wasn't included in the list that you gave a while ago as excluded. No, I actually wrote down every single thing you said. So in the first set of questions, he forgot that he had not heard the response to this question. So remember, I'm asking you to repeat that for Minister.
At the very beginning, when I made the statement,
Yes.
I asked the question, what informs entering into this bilateral agreement? What are the particular benefits to Jamaicans and the Jamaican society that inform entering into the discussions and to go into executing an MOU and to go into determining an operational arrangement? That was the specific question I asked at the very beginning.
Thank you, Member. Minister, you may now proceed to respond. Member from St. Catherine Northwest, kindly turn your mic off.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Member, the bilateral agreements between partners don't operate like that. This is a request of the United States government. The TCN request came from the US government. We looked at it, discussed it, and agreed to pursue a discussion to come to an agreement. And that those discussions were carried out by professionals. We had no fundamental objection. We had to look at logistics, the number of people we can manage. As I said, we are currently managing our own IRMs, which takes the same team of people in the ministry. We are managing, that is what we call involuntary return migrants, which are Jamaican deportees coming home. We are handling a number of Haitians. We have just dealt with a number of Cubans who have stayed in the country. And because of our location, those numbers could expand in the direction. We had to get those considered, and the professionals who have to deal with the issue of migration and handling operation on the scene, who have to work with IOM where necessary, as in this case, had to consider and conducted negotiation and agree to the numbers we give you. No bilateral agreement. You have been in government a long time, so you will be aware of that. Agreements are not discussed in that manner with people you work with on a regular basis. The Americans have been our partners from independence. We have many agreements with them. We have extensive trade agreements with them. We have extensive security agreements with them. So there is not a question of quid pro quo. They made a request of an ally, and we discussed it and agreed to the Memorandum of Understanding.
After your
So you heard it from the man himself. You heard it from Dr. Horace Chang. So essentially, he gave a lot of word salad, right? And he spoke about the friendship between Jamaica and the United States and how they've been there for us, Hostin and Kofat. So essentially, and then he basically admitted that the United States would have made the request of us, and then we were looking at the how much persons we can take and where would they go. And so there was a lot of questions and answers in parliament. And so some of the questions were because apparently these persons are not convicted criminals, these are immigrants who would have entered the United States illegally, and so you want to deport them, and they come to Jamaica first, so as a transit before they go back to their host country or the country of origin. And so these persons will also have the latitude to roam in Jamaica freely, like a tourist, basically. If they want to stay in Jamaica, they can apply to become a Jamaican citizen. But I mean, the people who left America, they now come to Jamaica for apply as a citizen, right? And then yes, also as well, America will be taking care of when it comes down to expenses, so food, clothing, shelter, all of that. The America will be paying for that. Jamaican government will not be paying for that. So essentially, Jamaica is just going to be the shell that allows them to come and leave, but this is not going to affect us economically. It's not going to affect us positively or negatively, to be honest and to be fair. We will not be affected positively nor negatively because America is paying for everything. But then it also begs the question, I have a next question. Why is America doing this? Why have they decided to use Jamaica and other countries as third country national to transport their third country nationals? Why they can't just keep them in their country? Why ICE can't keep them in their country, and then when they're ready, they just send them back at their host country? And so I had to do more research. Now, according to this website Jurist News, rather, U.S. federal court ruled third-party country removal policy unlawful. They ruled that it was unlawful. A U.S. federal court on Wednesday said that Trump administration's third-party deportation policy is unlawful because it fails to provide migrants a chance to object or raise safety concerns. The case before the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts came out of the class action lawsuit brought by 8 migrants who were removed under the Trump administration third country deportation policy. Migration left the U.S. with the intended destination of South Sudan, but instead ended up in, I can't pronounce the name, DJ, we don't know that name, that country there. I'm going to post in the country, I don't know that country there. Neither destinations appeared on their removal documents. Now, what is that word? Anyway, I'm going to have time to make out that word there. But there's a country named DJIBOUTI. So, I don't know. People make you read. Alright. Why are they doing this? Because it clearly states that a judge ruled against Donald Trump that this is unlawful. A judge ruled against Donald Trump that this is unlawful. So why are they doing this? And why is it that Jamaica has decided to aid and abet into Donald Trump's decision to export or to smuggle U.S. immigrants outside of the country? I'll tell you why. You see, again, with the class action, when they're in the United States, what happens is that they're able to fight against it. They're able to go to the court, take ICE to court, and it pushes out. There's a lot of legal battle. However, when you put them in another country, they're in another jurisdiction, and so the laws no longer apply. So they can freely do what they want to do with the immigrants by putting them in other countries, because what happens is that if they stay on American soil, there's a lot of legal battles ICE is going to have to fight, and which will prolong the deportation of these people. However, if it is that they go into another country legally, they're no longer within United States jurisdiction, they're in another country's jurisdiction, and so the lawyers in America will not have any legal right to appeal for these persons because they're in a completely new jurisdiction. And that is the reason America has been doing this. But again, the judge, which is a part of the judiciary arm of the United States, right, government, right, they would have struck this down and says this is not legal. This is not legal, what you're doing. So essentially, what they're doing is illegal. And Jamaica is aiding and abetting in the United States illegal activities. Essentially, that is what is taking place. We are aiding and abetting in their illegal activities. And so one would ask the question, why would we do that? Why? Why would Jamaica aid and abet in their illegal and facilitate America's illegal activities? Well, essentially what would have happened is that if Jamaica says no, we're going to fall out. We have seen what would have happened with Cuba, haven't we not? We have seen what happened with Cuba. And so, as stated, the United States would have, quote unquote, helped Jamaica a lot. But you have to understand, with a lot of these help that we would have received, especially in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, came with strings attached. But it is framed as friendship. But there were strings attached to this. Make no mistake, there were strings attached to this. And so, if we say no, they can easily sabotage us. Now, you recall when earlier this year when the United States said to Jamaica that we should not do any more business with Cuba. And so a lot of Jamaicans were extremely upset because they were saying we should stand up and we should have a revolution and hostile and co-fat. We're not a tech bully for America. Now, I understand where you're coming from. To those who are saying that, I fully understand where you're coming from. I'm not denying your feeling because I also share the same feeling as you. However, you have to be extremely smart in how you go about certain things. So, for example, Jamaica is primarily dependent on the US, and apparently, because I do cost this government as well, but when I cost the government on this, I cost them differently. Because especially even while on Twitter, I cost the government. I feel like I was complaining to no PNP joining when I cost them because don't tell me the PNP people, and this is not every PNP person, but unfortunately, it goes for a lot of persons who are part of the People's National Party. When they cost in a sense, I'm not cost with, no cost with sense. Me if you talk it true, no don't cost with sense. You understand? And then why me I cost the government, me have turn around no and cost you know because you think say me you think alike. I know me not think me I not think alike. That's not the case. And so what a lot of members of the PNP would rally for, right, is for us to have a revolution and to say no to America and hostile and co-fat. But you need to understand that there will be ramifications for that. And so, for example, again, tourism is our primary source of income for the country, and majority of Jamaica's tourists come from the United States. And if the United States puts out a travel advisory, a mash up the tourism industry will get knocked. In other ways as well, apparently, how Andrew Holness has been bragging and boasting when it comes onto the concept of reducing crime was because he received a lot of assistance from the United States. In terms of intelligence and equipment and information, Jamaica would have received a lot of assistance from the United States. Nothing is free. Separate from that, if you have a Visa card, if you have a MasterCard, if you're a debit card, whether it's Scotiabank, I believe Scotiabank is Master, I believe Sagicor is also Master, I believe, what them name again? CIBC is Visa, and NCB is also Visa, right? Cool. Those Visa and Master are foreign American companies. Do you remember when before you had a Visa debit card with NCB, you had that Midas card? Yeah, that was 100% Jamaican. The Midas card was 100% Jamaican. But when NCB moved over and we got the Visa card, NCB would have had to have a deal with Visa, because there's an actual company in Visa, for us to utilize their cards. And so that allows us to be able to shop online, right? Again, they can sabotage us by that as well. You can't shop online, none of that mash up your economy. So our banks now fall out. You understand? There are various ways Jamaica does have to buy oil. We're not produce to own oil. We can end up like Haiti people. No, does that mean that I don't cost the government? Here's the thing though, with all of that what is said and the facts that are presented, does that mean that you should sit down and lie like a dog and accept it as is? No. And this is where I come in and I start to cost the government, because the government has continued to strengthen our dependency on the United States of America. The government of Jamaica has continued to strengthen our dependency on the United States of America. How? By building more hotels. The Ministry of National Security, of Labor rather, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security came up with the domestic training services so that we can be more subservient and be slaves for tourism. Instead of empowering the Jamaican people so that we can start our own business. And as a matter of fact, I believe I said this before in previous episodes, was the fact that, for example, the Planning Institute of Jamaica they themselves would have come out and stated that at least 40% of Jamaica's GDP is in the informal economy. 40% of Jamaica's GDP. And I look at that, 40% of Jamaica's GDP is roughly over $1 trillion, a little bit over $1 trillion Jamaican dollars, which is literally similar to Jamaica's budget that they used to run the country. Now, I don't accept or expect Jamaica to be able to, or the government rather, to be able to get 100%, the full 40%, because that's not possible. But if it is that you're able to capture at least 10%, at least 5% of the 40%, you would not have to raise taxes when you raised taxes on us recently. Your credit rating would have increased. You understand? But yes, we are not looking into ways in which, for example, when I look at agriculture, and you look at agriculture is only seen as a food producing industry, right? What about medicines? You understand? What about going into, we speak about medical marijuana. I am not seeing a transformational way in which we're able to mobilize and have more Jamaican people as sovereign and as business owners. I am not seeing that. And yes, there are methods where the government would have, for example, loans where you can borrow, and that's good. But again, there are so many bureaucratic frictions in, first of all, in getting these loans. And that's the reality of it. When I look and I see that every single parish has an RGD office, every single parish has a labor office, every single parish has an NIS office, every single parish has a PICA office, every single parish has an Social Development Commission office. And there are other every single parish has a tax office. Right? But there are only 2 Companies Office of Jamaica in the entire island. One in Kingston and one in Manchester. Sorry, one in Montego Bay. There are only 2 parishes and 2 places in Jamaica, 2 offices of the Companies Office of Jamaica where you can register your own business. And you wonder why 40% of Jamaica's GDP is a part of the informal economy. A lot of the time it's not that. Yes, I get that a lot of people don't want to pay tax. I get that, right? But some of the time it has nothing to do with tax and more the fact that there's a lot of friction in registering your business. And what about the people in Westmoreland? What about the people in Portland? What about the people in Manchester? What about the people in Clarendon? You have to travel to either Montego Bay or Kingston to register your business. What about developing or investing in fintech? And I don't see a massive push for fintech. For those who don't know what is fintech, financial technology. So advancing and mobilizing, so moving from BPO to KPO, knowledge-based output, where we're able to, one, command extremely triple the salary of what we're getting in the BPO industry, and 2, as well, financial literacy, we're doing financial business on behalf of other countries so that we can grow the Jamaican sector and grow the Jamaican economy. Digital literacy, so that we can be able to capitalize and utilize in learning program writing, learning digital capabilities, so that you can make millions of dollars from the comfort of your bedroom, working internationally. This is something that is weightless. You don't have to build any infrastructure. No, we're not doing that. We're still teaching people how to do housekeeping and to be subservient. And this is where I cost the government, because you are not making us an independent country so that we're in the position to say no to foreign entities. You are putting us in a situation where we have to be continuously dependent. You are strengthening our dependency on other countries, especially the US, so that when the United States says jump, Jamaica says how high. This is how I cost the government. I understand the situation that we're in. But you're not trying to take, I do not see where the government is trying to take them hand out of the, out of land mouth. Slowly? No. Instead, we are pushing hand down into the land throat even further. We are pushing our arms, right now the one we arm, into the lion mouth even further. Because we're not doing things to mobilize the Jamaican people so that we can be empowered to have more Jamaican business people, so that is the only time I would support an import of labor. Because if you have more Jamaican business people and less persons to be employees, then you have to get foreign employees to come. But the current situation, you want to keep, or at least the Jamaican employees, the capitalists, especially the large business people, they want to keep Jamaicans poor. They do not want to raise the salary. If the Jamaican government does not raise the minimum wage, they would keep it there and they would try as best to wring you out and make as much money as they can while pay you penance. That is what it is, an exploitation. And this is why I always cost the government. This is why when I wrote the Resilient Jamaica Blueprint 2025 to 2040, it included all of these plans and more. Because I asked myself the question, and this is not just about saying no to the United States, but again, what if in the event there is, look at Hurricane Melissa, we look at Hurricane Melissa, right? The tourism industry was severely destroyed, and so a lot of hotels were closed down, and so Jamaica would have lost money, and so because of that, it affected our economy. Whereas if it is that you are teaching people digital literacy, which is a weightless economy, all you need to have is a computer, all you need to have is access to the internet. That's all. After the hurricane pass, as long as we have internet, as long as we have cable, as long as we have electricity, we're good, we're back online. But you're not teaching people these things. You're building more hotels to have more slaves to work in the hotel industry. That is what it's doing. This is how you cost Jamaican government. PNP. This is how you cost them. Because claiming no one I do. This is why I have to cost them, the PNP people who come in the comment section, because it's not sense and they don't know how to cost people. You have to utilize facts and not feelings. And you guys cost with feelings. You have to cost with facts and data. And so the reality is where we are. You come like this, I have to do a part 2 because this is a video long. I have to do a part 2 to this. But yes, here is the reality. The reality is right now, Jamaica. We are so entangled and so intertwined with the United States and so dependent on the United States. So much so that when they say jump, we're going to have to say how high, because we don't have a choice. It's either that or we end up like Haiti. Not Haiti, I'm sorry. Like Cuba or Venezuela. Because we were so dependent and intertwined with them. We do not have the capacity to say no. That is the problem. I have a problem with that. So, we don't know whether I'm a fool. We don't know government is a fool. We are come talk about, the friendships, and because of the friendship between Jamaica. No, you're not fooling nobody. The people them blackmail you. The people them tell you what to do, and you have to say, yes, master. And that happen. You're not fooling nobody. On to the next, 23 minutes. Well, people, I'll be talking about the chaos that took place in Parliament. Oh my gosh. So on to the next story. So in Parliament today, we recognize, so there's a lot of situations. So with Nikisha Burchell, with Juliet Holness, and also with Morgan, what is his first name? Robert Morgan, also as well. So essentially what would have happened, there was a big brawl. You know what? Watch the video and I'll come back.
are a bully. You are a bully. You are a bully and you will not bully us. You are a bully.
The House Leader to speak. And member Nikisha Burchell. Member Nikisha Burchell. Marshall, once again, Member Burchell, in contravention to the standing orders, is using an electronic device and taping in the House. So, Member Burchell, the moment you go ahead, Deputy.
Give me a minute, please. Madam Speaker, on a point of order. There is an attempt, Madam Speaker. I note that there is an attempt on a point of order. There is an attempt. A member across the floor has consistently been using her phone to record members in the House, which is a breach of the standing orders. Madam Speaker, I am asking that you name the member if the member continues to do that.
All right, so essentially we would have noticed that what would have happened, there was a big quarrel, a big brawl. There was a big brawl between Andrew Holness and Dayton Campbell. Andrew Holness saying he's a bully, and they go back and forth. We don't know why, but they go back and forth with them one another. And then Juliet Holness was trying to calm down everybody, and then she named Nikisha Burchell, stating that she's using her phone. And then Robert Morgan stood up on a point of order and said that she should be named. But something stood out though, because, and this has been circulating on Twitter. I saw this on Twitter, and before I said anything, I decided, and that was when I decided to watch, because sometimes when people, they may post things, so like from a different scenario or a different episode or a different date, and splice the video, and so it misrepresents it. So I needed to see it for myself first before I said anything. And yes, I'm able to confirm if you go on PBC or JIS, because Parliament is streamed on JIS and PBC. So now we see here where Robert Morgan got up and was reiterating basically the same thing that the Speaker of the House was saying. What I find interesting though was first of all, watch this video.
A member across the floor has consistently been using her phone to record members in the House, which is a breach of the standing orders. Madam Speaker, I am asking that you name the member if the member continues to do that.
Yep, that's me.
Exactly. How is it that you're going to stand up and say that the member is to be named when you were doing the very same thing too? How is it that you're going to stand up on your 2 feet and declare that Nikisha Burchell be named and she must be reprimanded when you were doing the very same thing? Now, I'm not defending Nikisha Burchell, because apparently, again, if it is a standing order, you're not supposed to be recording, which, to be honest, again, that kind of make no sense, because I mean, we are watching it. It's been recorded. You're live on YouTube. We're seeing everything. So when you say we should not, that I don't see the sense or the purpose of that rule, and maybe somebody can provide me with the purpose of that rule, because again, so Nikisha Burchell would have broken another rule. The first rule she broke was when she spoke patois in Parliament without the permission of the Speaker, which I disagree with. That wouldn't make no sense. But again, the rule is the rule, and unless the rule is changed, unless the standing order is changed, I cannot, as much as I disagree with it, it is still the standing order, and so the Speaker of the House would have had the latitude to do so. And then apparently it is, if it is a part of the standard order where you're not supposed to utilize your cell phone or any other electronic device to record anything in Parliament, again, for me, still doesn't make any sense, because you are being recorded. The fact that I'm able to sit here from Manchester and watch it for myself, watch the live broadcast, means that we are being recorded. The last episode I spoke about the government, the Prime Minister, and I called him out on wages and productivity, right? I was able to go back into the archives back in 2023 when he raised minimum wage from $9,000 to $13,000 because it is there, it is being recorded and it is stored. So I found it to be strange where you're live on YouTube, you're obviously being recorded, but then you're going to say that a member should not utilize a cell phone on the production floor, was a constant on the house floor because standard order dictates that that should not happen. I believe that is kind of outdated because again you're already being recorded. So if she records you, oh my gosh, you were being recorded. Everybody is recorded in Parliament. So it cannot be a matter of privacy because what privacy? You're on the house floor, you're in Gordon House. Everybody in Gordon House is being recorded, so it cannot be for that purpose. But anyways, me have to call out, yeah, Nikisha Burchett was wrong for doing the recorder apparently because it wouldn't make no sense. That don't make no sense to me, but fine, she was wrong. But what stood out to me though was the fact that Robert Morgan had the audacity to stand up and to reprimand her when you were doing the very same thing. Literally like 2 minutes before. 2 minutes before, Juliet Holness would have called her out, right, and named her. You were doing the very same thing, so how is it that you are going to come and demand that the member be named when you, why don't you you need to name yourself as well? If you're going to come and demand that the member be named, name yourself as well, because you are a part of it as well. You were also doing the same thing as well, so how you not name yourself too? That don't make no sense to me. Rules for thee, but not for me. Hypocrisy. The ultimate hypocrisy. I have to call that out. That does not make any sense at all. And so one would look at this and say, people's not, Jamaica not, I want my tongue today. Jamaica Labour Party, it would look biased. It would seem or suggest that this evidence is pointing to you being biased. This evidence is pointing to say that, hey, you are being a lot of what the People's National Party has been saying. I remember when the first incident took place between Angela Bromberg and Juliet, and I said that I'm going to give Juliet Holness the benefit of the doubt, right? I'm still going to give Juliet the benefit of the doubt in this case. Reason being was that, to be honest, Nikisha Burchell had the camera up multiple times, and like I said, it was a one-off thing because she was doing it a lot. And it was a good while. And like I say, the difference between her and Robert Morgan hold up if you like, you know, I don't know, it was a very, very short time, which would have easily, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to say that Robert Morgan, you missed seeing Robert Morgan, right? Because yeah, it was a short while that Robert had his phone up and he was recording. However, nevertheless, he still had his phone up and he was recording. Right? So perhaps if Nikisha didn't have it up so many times, then she could have gotten away with it. She didn't get away with it because it was multiple times she was doing it. You understand? So I am still, for that purpose specifically, I have to still say that the Speaker of the House is exercising some level of fairness in that regard. However, it still is pointed to the Jamaica Labour Party being biased in Parliament, because how is it that you are going to get up? The fact is you are doing the same thing, even though the time is short. You are doing the very same thing that Nikisha Burchell was doing, and you get up and say that she should be named. If she was going to be named, you would also have to be named too. If there was going to be any form of suspension or any form of dismissal from Parliament, you would also have to come out of Parliament as well. You cannot name, like, it better it was, so if I did like Fred Green get up and say do the point of order, fine. It better Fred Green did do it, or some other politician did do it, but not you, Robert Morgan. Not you. Not you. We just said the very same, not you. You of a person should not be getting up to pointing out and saying that, oh, a point of order, a member has been no, you are doing the very same thing too. That's called hypocrisy. Rules for thee and not for me. That's essentially what is taking place. And so the Jamaican people are watching, and we're looking and we're piecing the clues together. So far, JLP, it is pointing to the fact that you're being biased. So far, I'm going to call it what it is. I try to be as fair as possible, and I will call it what it is. And that is the end for today's episode. This is going to be a long video recording and everything. Me have to talk about it. The next on the agenda is the breaking news. I wanted to jump on the breaking news, but then it is important to gather more information. So with Andrew Wheatley, later on, I need to do more research and then also do my presentation or my recording on this. So I'll do that later. But yes, it was my pleasure. Thank you very much for all of you guys who have been supporting me so far. And always remember, please never forget that your independence is the foundation of your liberation. Walk, go Jamaica.